Okay, let's make sure audio's working. Okay, let's make sure audio's working. Audio is working. All right, guys. Well, I'm probably going to have to yell over the music, but you can tell by the screen it's time. I was debating during the night where I wanted to do a quick Madden 27 live stream to kind of get it started on the channel, but I said, you know what? Let's get it done. Got a long week of work, I'm not going to lie. I still got one more day to go tomorrow, and I cannot wait to get out of work tomorrow. Not going to go too much into right now, but maybe later in the stream I'll tell you about what's going on. But anyway, we're here, Madden 27, let's get into it.
Welcome to Madden NFL 27.
So obviously we've got the, first the menu stuff that we have to deal with. I think everything is perfectly fine. Let me double check here. Master volume. Okay, that's fine where it is. So I am going to go ahead and just hit continue for now. Share. Sure. Let's go ahead and do that. Hopefully it just lets me into the menu here. Pre-order rewards unlocked. Okay. Okay. Kicking. Oh, okay, so it's got my previous settings from Madden 26. Yeah. Save and continue. Awesome. Let's go ahead and go free pass. I'm not going to be doing any Ultimate Team stuff. All right. So the first thing we're going to have to do is we are going to have to turn the music off, unfortunately. I'm sure I'll listen to, the soundtrack when I get my own free time to play the game and everything like that, but for now we're going to have to turn it off due to copyright issues. So obviously, kind of like I did with Madden 26 last year when I got it, I kind of just went through the menu and took a look at things, and let me tell you, this is a very different looking menu than what I expected. Then again, I spent many hours on Madden 26, so I got used to that menu a lot. But it's looking like that based on the favorite team you select, it's not just images of the team itself from current day. It looks like also that you get to see like classic players. Like I'm seeing DeMarcus Ware in there. I think I saw a quick visual of CeeDee Lamb. Of course, there's AT&T Stadium, the Cowboys symbol in the main area that they leave out of. Yeah, there's CeeDee right there. I think that's CeeDee in all of the frames. I don't see any other current players. I mean, that's the huddle of the current team. I can tell by the Commanders game they played last year. So Madden 27 is finally here. Today was a launch day for the Standard Edition. I mentioned at the end of my last College Football 27 live stream that I pre-ordered them. Well, not pre-ordered, but I ordered the game. Of course, it wasn't playable for the until like 3-4 days later, because the last time I streamed was on Sunday. And here we are. Madden 27 is here. And I think what I'm going to keep doing is the same plan that I talked about. The first real big series that you guys are going to see is the start of the Cowboys franchise mode with like training camp, preseason, and all of that stuff. The College Football 27 content is going to stay on the channel. I'm just going to let this menu ride out as I continue to talk. I don't think it's going to freeze up on me or anything like that, which is actually kind of good because, kind of shrinks the menu so I can just kind of talk like normal. But that's the plan for right now. I'm going to do the Superstar mode. I did a little bit of streaming with that last year with Madden 26, but my character has not completed his road to glory yet with Texas Tech, my quarterback. So I think I'm going to finish that before I do anything with the Superstar mode, and I will get to finishing that because I still have, I think, my junior season and senior season to go over at Texas Tech, and I plan on playing my guy all 4 years, not leaving for the NFL early unless my junior year is a great year for my quarterback. So that's the plan in the near future for the channel. As far as Madden 27 content, the main thing is going to be the Cowboys franchise kind of / rebuild. I mean, the series, like always, going to be called franchise because it's my favorite team. So naturally, I'm going to play with them until I lead Dallas to a Super Bowl victory, and then I'll start rebuilds. I know that technically on Madden, and I know that on Madden 26, I didn't do a lot of rebuilds. I didn't. I started some, but I didn't finish some. I'm debating about which teams that I want to do a rebuild that are not the Dallas Cowboys. Watching actually some preseason football tonight, the Titans look pretty interesting. Also because they have brand new uniforms that are basically like the Houston Oilers. I might actually try to rebuild them, or I might try again with the Cleveland Browns and try to make a decision on the quarterback situation, whether it's Sean Watson or Shador Sanders. But I don't know what I'm going to do with that. But I started a Browns franchise in Madden 26, but despite trading for Trevor Lawrence, I couldn't get that team on a deep playoff run. I think it was just a very severe lack of talent. But regardless of that, that's kind of what I'm thinking about in terms of rebuilds on the channel. And then again, maybe some things will happen during the real life NFL season that'll dictate that. I might decide to there might be a team that needs to be rebuilt because they have a really bad season despite all the talent that they have. Then again, some people could say that about my Dallas Cowboys. So speaking of the Cowboys, it's time to take a look at this roster. Let me see. Let me go ahead and change. Let me go and see if I can take a look at some rosters here. Edit rosters. Okay. So let me go to manage players here. Let's take a look at my Cowboys roster first of all. So Dak Prescott, 91 overall at the launch date. Joe Milton is rated better than Sam Howell. Okay, I'm actually a little bit surprised about that. He's a 69. Sam Howell's a 65. I mean, if you had to ask me, I mean, even though no preseason games have been played, I mean, the Cowboys' first preseason game is on Saturday against the Seattle Seahawks, which I know is preseason football, but I will be watching that game. My money is on Sam Howell to have a better preseason than Joe Milton. I think Joe Milton was another failed quarterback trade like with Trey Lance. And Trey Lance is not looking too bad with the LA Chargers as a backup. So you could say the organization is better, so he's better. But yeah, Joe Milton looks like another failed trade for a backup that's just not going to help. So Dak goes down, Dallas is in trouble. Javonte Williams, new deal. 86 overall, but that might be able to get up to the 90s by the end of the season when I play through them in franchise mode. But he has a new deal, so at least I don't have to worry about Javonte Williams' contract being up after the first year and having to pay a lot to keep him there. And I've taken a look at some franchise gameplays, and I know that the free agency bidding war is different. It kind of seems like that they kind of went back to some of the features of the old Maddens when it came to coach bidding. But it actually kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you guys remember this game back in the day. It kind of reminds me of the bidding process when we had NFL head coach '09. And it was really a deal where you had to jump in on bidding on a player, and you just had to hit, X to get your bid up a little bit, and then, a few teams would be in, and then, sold. It was like an auction type of deal. It seems like they might be adding a little bit of those features. I mean, then again, NFL Head Coach '09 was an EA Sports release, and I actually still have that game. I still have it on the PS3. The only problem is that when I played it now, I don't play my PS3 anymore. I don't really play on any other console other than my PS5 anymore. The audio for like the NFL films music that has on it, which by the way I think is fire, just because it reminds me of classic NFL Network in like '08 and '09 when I was watching a lot of football and really really getting into the Cowboys. The audio would just like crap out. It would like be good, and then all of a sudden I would go to another menu, and then it's like, oh, audio doesn't work, and I would look at the settings, and the audio would be up, but I don't know. Anyway, so Jaden Blue is the backup running back. Malik Davis, 73 overall. Both these guys are 73 overall. That's pretty interesting. And then we've got Israel Abanaconda, who's, in my opinion, just a camp body. I mean, he'll be probably cut at the end of the preseason. Phil Maffa, I think, will stick around. Malik Davis, I think, will find a roster spot, but Maffa might have to just go to the practice squad at the end of the season. I don't know. Hunter Luecke's still the fullback, 72 overall. 93 overall for CeeDee Lamb. That is not too bad. George Pickens coming in at just an 89, although I think that was his rating at the start of launch last year. I'm already banking on in my Cowboys franchise mode that I'm probably just going to let George Pickens walk at the end of the season. And this is honestly what I think the Cowboys should do in real life. You don't want to. They don't. If do they really want to be in a similar situation as what happened with the Bengals, where they have so much money tied into the quarterback and not one but two wide receivers, and you can't get any better on defense? Like, you can't sign anybody that's going to make an impact for you. That's the problem with the Cowboys do. So, in my opinion, this is George Pickens' last year as a Cowboy, and I don't think he'll be in Dallas after this season. Am I going to be upset about that? Not. I'm going to, say that that this window open and shut in 2 years. But let's be real. When the Cowboys traded for George Pickens last year, I didn't think that was going to do anything to put the team over the top. Because what good did that really do? Because you traded your best player at this time, basically last year, before the season even began. You guys know who I'm talking about. But anyway, and then you got Kevontae Turpin, 76. Flanoy's a 76. I mean, Flanoy to me is wide receiver number 3 because Turpin is really a gadget player. He's a return man. He might be a guy they try to utilize in the slot. I feel like Schottenheimer tried to use him a little bit like that last year, but Ryan Flanoy is your wide receiver 3. I don't care what anybody says. And then Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Jonathan Mingo, I hope he gets cut forget about the end of the season. I hope he gets cut at the end of training camp. This is another wasted trade with a late-round pick that the Cowboys could have used on somebody for depth. They've been finding some late 5th round, 6th round gems. One of them is this guy. He's better than Mingo. So that tells me all I need to know. Tyler Johnson can't body, Denzel Mims can't body, and Anthony Smith, rookie out of East Carolina. A lot of people are actually high on him, but who knows? Tight end Jake Ferguson. Here's an interesting story about Ferguson. Well, not really about him, but I went to a Dallas Cowboys watch party for the Packers game this past season, and it was the only watch party I went to of this organization. And I actually won a Jake Ferguson jersey. and I told myself that I would not buy another Dallas Cowboy current player jersey ever. Honestly, I'm boycotting buying specific Cowboy player jerseys. I'm not doing that anymore. Have I bought Cowboys merch since then? Yes, I have. I did buy a navy blue Caleb Downs t-shirt. Okay, but it's not a jersey, it's a t-shirt. So, to me, that is going to be valid for at least the next 4 years. Who knows what kind of shape I'll be in. Luke Schoonmaker is the backup tight end. But anyway, I won a jersey for Ferguson. Brevin Spann-Ford, Michael Trigg, lot of hype for him in camp. Could take over Spann-Ford's spot, maybe. Schoonmaker might be threatened. Princeton fan in real life, actually, it indicates it right there. He tore his ACL in camp, so he won't be playing this season. Unfortunate for him. Tyler Guyton, 73 left tackle. Tyler Guyton is a bust. Okay, I mean, I think Nathan Thomas, they should just rock with him as the starting left tackle and let him learn and really just rebuild the left side of the offensive line. I think the Dallas Cowboys will be drafting yet another offensive lineman at left tackle in the draft this next season because they're going to realize that Tyler Guyton just isn't it. Part of me thinks that they will. Part of me honestly wants them to make a move at the trade deadline for somebody better, but Dallas doesn't normally really trade for offensive linemen in the season. They usually trade for, if it's on offense, it's a skill position player, usually a wide receiver, or depending on how bad the defense is, they might be trading for. They're going to be trading for a linebacker or a secondary player. Rarely do any NFL teams in the middle of the season trade for offensive linemen. Who knows? They might do that out of desperation, but I doubt it. But I think Tyler Guyton is a bust. Like, looking at Madden ratings even tell me all I need to know about what his real-life counterpart is like. I mean, he's a 73 overall left tackle, protecting a 91 overall QB. That formula just doesn't fit. Left guard is Tyler Smith, who's an 89 overall. He's not even in the 90s? I'm a little bit surprised about that. 66, Trevor Keegan. Cooper Beebe is a 76. 82 Tyler Booker. I think that was around his rating last year. TJ Bass, Chris Glazer, and a 75. Oh, my goodness. I got to tell you, when I rebuild this Cowboys team, Tyler Smith might get up to the 90s by the end of the season, but every other offensive lineman, might need to be replaced. Now, then again, in Madden 26, Tyler Booker actually progressed decently starting as a rookie. And I think he actually was pretty solid last year. I think he was named to the All-Rookie team. I do think that I do think the Cowboys did get this pick right with Tyler Booker, because when it comes to tackles and guards, I do think that they still have the ability to hit on those. If the Cowboys draft anything right, usually it's offensive linemen, with the exception of Guyton. He was a project coming out of Oklahoma, and he's basically fulfilled that mold. Edge rushers, Rashawn Gary, who they traded for, 84 overall is actually not too shabby. Malachi Lawrence, rookie 78. But actually, that's I didn't think he'd be rated that high. I actually thought he'd be rated in the low 70s, but he might be able to get up to the 80s by his second or third season. Maybe about the same rating as Gary is, and then Gary's going to be expendable. They got Leah Fowl listed as an edge rusher. It's 69 overall. Leofau is not going to be on my roster probably after. I mean, he's going to be on the roster until his rookie contract runs out, and the only reason I'm going to keep him on the roster is just for depth, a body. That's all. I'd take Isaiah Land over him, even though he's rated lower. Maris Leofau is not an edge rusher. He is a hybrid linebacker, skinny safety guy. That's what he was in Notre Dame. Anyway, but Donovan Ezeraku, 75. Ugh. Part of me wants to move Lawrence over to the other side, and I don't know. Maybe I'll do that in the depth chart. Sam Williams, your time is running out, sir. James Houston. He's wearing 41 now. That used to be Ezeraku's number. I forgot that he actually changed his number, and I forgot Ezeraku wears 6 now, although that's his college number. Tyrus Wheat, who they re-signed, 65 overall depth. Big Q, the man who got his new contract, although by the time I start up I don't know. I guess by the time I start up the franchise mode, they'll take into account the new contract that he signed, so I won't have to deal with it. But let me see here. So at the end, it'll tell me what his contract is, I think. Let me see if it will. Let's say, can I go to edit player and see what his contract is? Yes, okay. 5 years. Years left, 2. Okay, but he signed an extension. Okay. Well, regardless of what that says, Quentin Williams is going to be on my team for at least a couple of seasons, guaranteed. Kenny Clark, 79 overall is not too bad. He could get up in the 80s by the middle of the season. Jonathan Bullard, he's a big guy. I did actually kind of like this signing a little bit, only because of the experience that he has playing with Parker, and also just being a big body in the middle. You know, he's not as big as Quentin Williams or Kenny Clark. He's smaller than them in terms of weight, but he has a decent enough size where he's a little bit more flexible, I guess. Now, LT Overton, that was one of my favorite draft picks. Give him a few years, he might be pretty solid. And Utito Ogbania, who was a depth guy, Jay Toya, I don't think he'll be on the team for much longer. Sam linebackers, we got none. Mike linebackers, we got 1, and it's Shamar James. But then again, the way that Dallas does their scheme, they don't really have a lot of Sam, Mike, or Mike guys because, you know it's a 3-4, and the scheme is just a little bit different. D. Winters is 77, but so is DeMarvion Overshown. Barham is a 73. Curtis Robinson is 59. Corners, Deron Bland, 81 at 83 at the start. Kobe Durant is an 81. I'm a little bit surprised about that. I thought he'd be like a high 70s guy. Kendrick, Revel's a 72. Ugh. This cornerback room needs a makeover. If I get in this franchise mode and Deron Bland continues to regress, oh man, he's going to play here until his contract is up, and then I'm moving on. There's no way I'm going to keep him beyond that, unless he's going to get up back to being a 90-something corner, which he was maybe a couple of Maddens ago, but I don't even know. I do like this pick that they made Devin Moore out of Florida. I think he'll be pretty solid. Kalen Carson is cooked. Josh Butler is a camp body, and Bridges is just a guy, and Reddy Stewart is just a guy. Although I like Reddy Stewart's tenacity a little bit, but they basically used him as a quick little nickel edge rusher guy, and he was a Matt Eberflus guy. I'm a little bit surprised that Christian Parker wanted to keep him on the team, but hey, depth, and this is a 5'11 corner. Then again, also we've got, Josh Butler's like 5'11 still. Free safety, this is probably the biggest free agent signing they made. And it's actually Jalen Thompson is actually one of the highest overall players. He's an 85 overall. Malik Hooker, I thought he was the same position. Well, it's because we got, who over there. Malik Hooker, 78. I won't be retaining him after this first season. Elijah Clark, 65 is not too bad. And there he is, rookie Caleb Downs. Starting out at an 82. Not bad. Locke, what is he? 74. Marquise Bell is a 72. Julius Wood, and then Zion Childress. Kicker, automatic Brandon Aubrey, and then Brian Anger. Long snapper, Trent Sieg. Okay, top overall players. Man, the Cowboys, this is a fall from grace. I don't care what anybody says. The Dallas Cowboys are in rebuilding mode. Okay, just based on Madden alone, when you have only 3 players at the start of the game in the 90s, and not even in the high 90s, no player on the startup roster is even in the mid 90s. CeeDee Lamb is the top-rated player at a 93. That's not a Super Bowl team. That's, in my opinion, not even a playoff team. If it is a playoff team, it's barely a playoff team. I'm talking 9-8. That's my expectations this season. And that's being pretty generous. I want to believe that 9-8 is a possibility. That might be good enough to make the wild card team as the last wild card team in the NFC. But my brain tells me 8-9, which would be better than last season, better than the last 2 years, because the last 2 seasons they've only won 7 games each in those seasons. It's pretty crazy when you look at it. Last year, 2 seasons ago, Dak Prescott goes down in the middle of the season, and they're playing bad, and he, rips the tendon off the bone of his leg. And Cooper Rush takes over. The team finishes 7-10. The next season, Dak Prescott comes back, plays the whole season, has another Pro Bowl year, is arguably statistically top 5 in the NFL in some of the bigger categories in terms of yardage, touchdowns, QBR, all the telling stats that people like Skip Bayless always love to point out. And the team finishes 7-9-1. That's basically the same record they had with all of the injuries, a defense that was just as bad, with the exception of having Micah Parsons in there. And it's the same deal. There's nothing that really, to me, should move the needle for any Cowboy fan this season. If anything, you can say with Quentin Williams coming here and him being inked to a long-term deal, you have a defensive piece that you can now make your foundation. But you need to rebuild everything else around this new foundation that you found. Okay? Because I don't think because I don't think the guys that are going to be in the long-term plans after this season, based on I think how they will perform, are guys that you thought were those guys like Deron Bland and that's really it. A lot of the big names that made this defense good just a few years ago, gone. Micah Parsons, gone. Trayvon Diggs, gone. Leighton Vander Esch, retired. Rebuild mode. But then again, that's why I do franchise modes. So anyway, yeah, let me take a look at the top players from at every position. I always like to do that. I like to do that last season. The top player in Madden, 27, Super Bowl champion Jackson Smith-Njigba, 99 overall, and the other 99 overall guy is Trey McBride. Wow. Jamar Chase is a 99. Matthew Stafford, 17 years in the league, and he's a 99. Wow. I'm glad he's on my fantasy team. Man, that is crazy. 17 years. Matthew Stafford's the new Tom Brady. If the Rams win the Super Bowl this season, he may or may not retire. I don't even know. Josh Allen is also a 99. Myles Garrett's a 99. Well, then again, he actually, I think, was a 99 overall last year in his final year in Cleveland. But wow, 99. And those are the 99 club guys. So there's what? 6 guys rated 99 overall? Okay, so those are the top. These are the top, 10 guys. Christian Gonzalez is a 98. You got Puka Naku, Jameer Gibbs. I think that's everybody in the top 10. Let's go position by position. Matthew Stafford, of course, is top QB. Then Josh Allen's right behind him. Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Mahomes, Drake May, Dak. Okay, so Dak is rated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7th highest rated QB. And then we got Herbert, Caleb Williams, cover athlete. Man, the cover athlete didn't get a lot of love. 90 overall. But then again, I think that ever since the overpowered 2004 Michael Vick, I don't think they really let the cover athlete be a 99 overall. But who knows? Jared Goff's not too shabby either. He's an 88 overall, so he's a high 80s guy. Running backs. Top guy is Jameer Gibbs. Then it's McCaffrey, Jonathan Taylor, John Robinson, James Cook. Derrick Henry is still in the 90s. Okay, I thought maybe they would, be a little bit rude to him and maybe have him in the high 80s. Let's see. Then Saquon, Josh Jacobs, and Kenneth Walker. Super Bowl MVP, now a Kansas City Chief. Those are the top running backs. Top fullbacks. Kyle Juszczyk, Reggie Gilliam, Patrick Ricard, Alec Ingold, Robbie Ostus. I don't know who that is. Jack Westover, I've heard of him. Hunter Lipke's actually a top 10 fullback in this game. That's not too shabby. Top receivers, Njigba, Chase, Nakua, St. Brown, Jefferson, CeeDee, Drake London, Devontae Smith, Terry McLaurin, Evans. Now with the 49ers, Trey McBride, top tight end, George Kittle, Brock Bowers, 93, okay. 91, Travis Kelce. Very well could be his final season. Mark Andrews is still in the 90s, barely, but he's a 90. Dallas Goedert's an 89. Sam Laporta, 88. He might be a 90s guy next year, maybe. Hunter Henry's an 86, not too bad. Tyler Krabs is an 85. Colston Loveland, I don't really know too much about him. Although I think he had a decent rookie year. 84 overall, though, for a Bears tight end is not bad. Penny Sewell is the top left tackle in the game. 98 overall, that's pretty good. Garrett Bowles is the second-rated guy. Trent Williams, Wirfs, Laramie Tunsil, who in real life has a pretty significant injury. They actually have it here. I think he's out. I think he might be out for the first quarter or first half of the season. Andrew Thomas of the Giants, Rashawn Slater. He's coming back off that injury that he had last year. Mailata, 91. A lot of left tackles in the 90s. Colton Miller, Christian Darashaw. All right. Left guards, Joe Thuney, Quentin Nelson, Tyler Smith. Okay, so Tyler Smith is the top 5 left guard. Landon Dickerson, 86. Damian Lewis. Peter Skoronsky. Alish Vera Tucker. Isaac Suomelo, the former Eagle, now a Cardinal. John Simpson. Ezra Cleveland. All right. Center, Creed Humphrey. Let's see, Brewer, Linderbaum, McCoy, Braunley, Zach Frazier, Jenkins. I forgot he's in Cleveland now. Top right guards, there's Trey Smith, Dotson. The top guy, though, is some guy I've never really heard of, Quinn Mears. But 95 is pretty good. Lane Johnson at the top right tackle. I think he was the top right tackle last year. Man, there's a big drop-off, though, in right tackles. We go from a 97 to an 87 Darnell Wright, who's pretty good, though, still an 87. Zach Tom's an 87. That's not too bad. Top edge rushers on the left side, Max Crosby, 97, 95, Will Anderson Jr., Nick Bosa's a 94, Aiden Hutchinson, 93, TJ Watt, 93, and then that's kind of dips from there. Right edge rushers, we got Myles Garrett. Micah Parsons is 98, 92 for Danielle Hunter. Nick Bonito is a 91, and then we got a 90 Trey Hendrickson, who's now with the Ravens. Derek Brown's the top defensive tackle, 96 overall. Okay, I wasn't expecting that. Jeffrey Simmons, the second best guy. I guess Cam Hayward, I guess, fell off a little bit. I mean, 95 is not bad. Chris Jones. Could be a farewell season for him. 94 overall. Vita Vea's a 94. Dexter Lawrence, I forgot he's in Cincinnati now, 93. 92 Quentin Williams. 91 for DeForest Buckner. And then we got a 90 Nnamdi Matabuke. Sam linebackers, not really highly rated guys. The top rated guy is only a 78, Isaiah McDuffie. Although I actually acquired him in a trade in my Pittsburgh Steelers rebuild, and that actually made a significant difference. So I might have to keep that in mind for rebuilds and maybe even my Cowboys franchise. I don't know. Wow. The second best Sam linebacker is a free agent. Might be not a bad idea to... I'll get to that when I get to. EJ Speed, 75. 74, Derek Barnes. Ardek. Mike linebackers, top guy is Fred Warner, 97. We got a 93, Roquan Smith. Demario Davis, forgot he was still in the league, with the Jets now. 90 overall at a 14-year veteran. That's crazy. It's not super crazy. The craziest one to me so far has seen Matthew Stafford be a 99 at 17 years in the league. That is crazy. That's crazy. He's in his 40s now. Not Davis, but Stafford. Bobby Wagner's still a free agent. I'll think about it. And then Jack Campbell, 85. Devin Lloyd, Nate Landman. Zach Bond, 92. 89, Drew Tranquil. Dre Greenlaw, who's now back with the 49ers, 87 overall. Leo Chanel. I'm trying to remember. I think he played for the Chiefs last year, and now is his first year in Washington. I think it is. JOK, as they call him, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, 83 overall, not bad. Caden Ellis, 83, 82, Dayan Henley. Cornerbacks, top guy, Christian Gonzalez, Patrick Surtain II, Trent McDuffie, who's now a Ram, Denzel Ward, Derek Stingley Jr., Devin Witherspoon. Okay, so Seattle doesn't have a lot of top-rated guys, but hey, they won this championship last year as a team, not just because of one star player. Sauce Gardner, 90, Jalen Johnson, Quinion Mitchell, 89. Okay. Free safety, Jesse Bates, 94, 93, Antoine Winfield Jr., Kirby Joseph, 91 overall, 90, Jalen Ramsey, and then it kind of dips from there. Harrison Smith is a free agent? Thought he was still on the Vikings. Oh, well. Derwin James Jr. is the top strong safety. Kyle Hamilton, then Xavier McKinney, Brian Branch, and Buda Baker. He's actually on my fantasy team. And then Minka Fitzpatrick, 89 overall. Kicker, top kicker is Brandon Aubrey, and then it's Boswell, Folk, Myers, Dicker, Ricard, and Evan McPherson, Fairbairn. Top punter is Michael Dixon, so he's the top Seahawk in the league. Sanchez, Evans, Bajorquez, Scott, Mann, AJ Cole. Top long snapper is Josh Harris. Andrew DePaula, Wood. Trent Sieg is actually a pretty highly rated long snapper. And that's it. So I just want to go over the rosters a little bit, just to get y'all look. Also for myself, just see who some of the top guys are. All right, well, let's try to hop into a game. Let's get some Cowboys gameplay in here. Let's do a custom game because I want to do opening night against the Giants. It actually kind of already defaulted to that to me, so not bad. So the menu is kind of looking similar in terms of this, although I kind of like the fact that it's showing full-scale players, so you can also make sure that you can adjust your uniform and everything. So I kind of like that because I always have to change it with that. So anyway. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Exhibition, broadcast style. Sunday night? Yeah, let's just do Sunday night because it will be Sunday Night Football in real life. Let's do 8-minute quarters for this. Should probably change the default settings to that anyway. So plot, commentary. Oh, yeah, I forget. You can actually, okay. Well, the style is Sunday night, but then you can select the commentators. You used to be able to do that. Oh, yeah, Mike Tirico and Greg Olson. We're going with them. Month, September, yeah, clear. Let's go clear. All right, we'll play the Sunday night game against the Giants. Looks like they once again have the EA Sports NFL copyright presentation. Well, not copyright, but just like, welcome to the following presentation of the National Football. Looks like the Sunday night primetime graphic is the same. I don't think that's changed. Seeing some of the gameplay, I don't really think the score bug has changed at all. Like I said, I think really some of the features that I'm going to notice have changed significantly is in franchise mode. Like with the free agent bidding like I was talking about and some other stuff. So yeah, this score bug for Sunday night game looks exactly the same. So no real change here. But let's hop in, do some Cowboys gameplay, and see how we do. First game on Madden, first Madden 27 game on the channel. Let's get it. Comes Jackson Dart. I gotta tell you, opening night against the Giants could very well be an eye-opening game. I would not be surprised if the Giants upset the Cowboys on opening night. I seriously would not. And I think that kind of will set the tone if they lose how the season's going to be. You know, they're going to be scratching and clawing for most of their wins. Because I feel like last year, there really weren't too many games where they won comfortably. Well, I say that. There was a game against the Commanders that they won easily at home. The Jets game was actually one they won comfortably, but I feel like those were the only two games where you just never sweated anything. And the Christmas Day game was kind of like that against Washington, but everybody was loose at that point because the team had been eliminated from the postseason, so nobody had really anything to lose from that game anyway. Meanwhile, we forced the Giants into a punt on their opening series, so that's nice. But yeah, I mean, it seemed like that in so many games, the Cowboys were scratching and clawing for like every win. And I'll tell you, I think what really proved to me that this team was in a lot of trouble was in Week 3 against the Bears when, you know, Caleb Williams had been stuck in the mud at that point in his career. And I feel like we literally launched Caleb Williams and the Bears in that game that we just didn't show up in, basically. I mean, they kicked Dallas's rear end, and it just wasn't even close. I think it was like 31-14 was the final of that game. That was a shock. Meanwhile, Javonte Williams gets back-to-back carries and looks pretty good. I do forget the Giants don't have Dexter Lawrence in the middle anymore, so that kind of makes things a bit easier. First pass for Dak is complete to who else but CeeDee Lamb. And like I was saying earlier about the whole Pickens conundrum, the Cowboys already have one of the top wide receivers in the league in CeeDee Lamb. And despite CeeDee's struggles with dropping passes last year in both of the Eagles games and during some times at last season, CeeDee Lamb's still a top 5 wide receiver. I don't care what anybody says. As an individual, he's a top 5 receiver. He's got, Pro Bowls to his name. I think he was named All-Pro at one point, at least in his career. So yeah, CeeDee Lamb is a top 5 wide receiver. If you have a guy that's just maybe a guy, like a Flanoy, for example, and you make him wide receiver 2 in the future, as a Cowboy fan, I honestly would take that, because you have at least 2 guys that are dependable for Dak. So you're not just feeding CD every time. And I know that's what they were trying to do with trading for Pickens, so it wasn't just CeeDee Lamb as the only option at receiver. I get what Dallas was trying to do. But you also you also knew that you had to eventually pay the man. Okay? George Pickens going off of a Pro Bowl season last year. And he was named the MVP of the game, even though it's a flag football game at this point. So he's going to be asking for his big money. And I know that, number one, you can't, you don't want to pay it because, Jerry, if you're being smart, you know that paying that money for one player means you can't do anything with any other position. So that's the approach that I'm taking when I'm taking over this team in franchise mode. Meanwhile, Javonte Williams gets us on the board for the touchdown run. I think I've mentioned it before, and maybe it's just the way that the mechanics were made, because when it comes to Madden, the EA Sports engine has been in existence for this game for way, way longer than EA Sports College Football. And I feel like that the mechanics are just different with both of the games in terms of gameplay. But with the tendencies of the receivers dropping passes, of doing certain things, of certain animations, which really, to me, just kind of makes College Football 27 actually tougher to play than Madden. I also do like the fact that they show the real coordinators in this game. I kind of wonder if they have the real... because of that, they probably have the real-life coordinators in franchise mode, because I want things to go back to kind of the old PS2 Maddens when you had real coaches. And not just the head coaches, but real coaches in the game at every level, at least at coordinators. Maybe not position coaches, but at least at coordinators. If you can get that back to give more accuracy to the game, because how many times do you see a hot shot offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator get a chance at a head coaching job because they had a phenomenal season and a team that only won 1 or 2 games is desperate for a new voice? So bring that back. Hopefully they brought that back into the game to give it a more sense of realism. Give it that realistic feeling when running a team. I mean, I know that a lot of people out there play this for Ultimate Team and they do that kind of stuff. I'm just not one of those guys. I've never been one of those guys. I never do Ultimate Team. I never do any of that stuff. I think it's probably just because I'm a realistic gameplay guy, and when it comes to rebuilds, I keep stuff realistic. I could do a bunch of trades, but I keep the salary cap on. I'm keeping the salary cap on to make it as authentic feeling for me as possible of running the team as a owner and general manager and everything.
Giants football here to begin the second quarter.
So that's how I feel. Up 7-0 after one quarter. Scatterby was loose. Well, he didn't get too loose. Deron Bland got him after a 6-yard pickup.
So, from the 37, here's 2nd and 4.
I'm going to change this. Okay, that was actually a good decision. I didn't really know for sure that Dart was going to take off and run with that ball, but they had guys kind of crowding the line, so we felt like a run, so I said, do that. And I was actually playing some College Football 27 last night, even though I didn't stream it. I was playing a couple more games offline in my Texas Tech Dynasty in year 2, and I was changing the defense to a lot of like this, where I have guys more packed in tight on the line on defense, but to play the run. So anyway, but that doesn't work. Scatterboo gets free and gets in the red zone. Well, then again, I was expecting the Giants to have hopefully a counterpoint at some point. The Giants are going to be better this year. They are. I mean, shoot. Dallas in both of the games that they played made them look extremely good. I mean, Jackson Dart looked like a future MVP candidate in the season finale. Although, then again, the Cowboys have given up pretty much to that point, too. And also, in Week 2 against Russell Wilson, he had his best game as a pro since he was in Seattle. Scatterboo up the middle for a touchdown. Well, Giants answered back there.
To their first possession of this game, like it resulted in a punt. Not exactly the fast start the coaches told us was so important.
If it turns into a shootout, at least, you know, we got the first points on the board. Well, we're probably going to have to keep some. That was an 11-play drive. The defense was on the field for a long time now. All right. Still a long game. And I got an 8-minute quarters for kind of the best gameplay that I feel like I can give. I keep it on 8-minute quarters anyway. Not a bad return by Turpin, but... Oh! Yeah, see? Kind of like they showed with the Giants offensive coordinator. They're showing the Cowboys offensive coordinator. And that does look like Clayton Adams. Although I think he's a little bit bigger than that. But in the face, it looks like him. So, hey, you know, I'm not going to knock EA Sports too much. I know they can't get everything right. I know that there's a lot of, like, face scans that they still don't do for players. I know that. I haven't. There we go. Finally, I got Pickens' first catch. Of course, I had to get him involved. I mean, he's already hurt. Risk of injury is high. Already? Damn, George, what happened to you? The wind knocked out of him or something. Here we go. I led CD a little bit. I thought I could cut to the middle of the field and keep on going. Still, got a good pass play right there.
Another 1st and 10. Here's the give up the middle with Williams.
Nowhere to go there. Gained 1 yard on that run.
Tremaine Edmonds there to make the play.
3 minutes left.
34-yard line. Here's 2nd and 9.
Ooh! Here we go, Javonte. 56 yards already for him in this game, and a touchdown.
Offense rolling right along on this drive. Another 1st and 10.
I tried to maybe scramble and roll out with Dak, but I made that decision too late. Okay, it's a 2-minute warning. Tied at 7, in field goal range. Obviously, I'd like a touchdown.
The 2-minute warning. We'll come back to MetLife Stadium after this.
All right.
Work to do now as they come
2nd and
on 2nd and
18.
Long. A shotgun snap for Prescott.
Go to third. Nice. All right, let's go to huddle. No huddle.
Very close to a first down. Won't quite have enough.
I like this one with the drag. Hopefully Pickens is able to get open. It's a motion play, but still. Did he catch that? All right, he must have. They're calling a timeout. Okay. I think the Giants, that's their first timeout they burned, so. Okay, all right.
So on these play calls,
really want to try to get this in.
Typically how it goes is we're going to try to take a shot, then there's a medium zone option, and then the last resort is just pick up the first down with something underneath.
Did he catch that?
Fresh set of down. So
I think he actually did catch that.
Settles for the underneath throw.
All right, Giants, I think, have 1 timeout left now. Second and goal.
Second down and goal.
2nd and goal.
Again, Prescott to the air.
Got CD. TD. Nice job on the slant.
Touchdown, Cowboys.
All right. That's a very, very weird angle, EA Sports. What are we doing? It's like, yeah, sure, I want to see inside of CeeDee Lamb's leg. But whatever. There's things EA Sports will never fix about Madden. They just won't, because they've been using the same mechanics for this game for the last 15-plus years. But whatever. But more importantly, we scored on that drive to get the lead back. Let's see, how much? The Giants, I think, have, what, 134? So, I'm sure they'll, be aggressive here, but hopefully we can prevent them from scoring. I know that we get the ball to start the second half, so if we can go down and score, we can probably get a pretty good distance, but all right, at least it was only a 1-yard gain, but there was some potential there to create a loss. But it is what it is. Oh, deflected. No, good job. And it was Jalen Thompson who knocked it away. Yeah, I don't normally like to use the DBs. I definitely don't do it in College Football 27, but I feel like in Madden I'm better at doing that because I know the tendencies more. Oh man, Malik Neighbors right up the zipper. At least Caleb Downs finally made finally made the tackle. He finally did something. And again, he might have had one tackle in here. I don't know.
On 1st and 10, here is Dart. They convert downfield, but
okay, at least we had tight coverage there. Reddy Stewart actually didn't do that bad of a job. We got, what, 49 seconds?
Again, Dart.
It's got to be wide open. They might run out of time if they're not careful.
He does have enough to pick up the first down. That's going to be caught by
okay, they just burned their last time out. At this point, they might just be settling for the field goal. It's probably the best they can do. Well, I say that. They might take one. If I was there, yeah, they're still taking shots. 2nd and 5. If I'm the Giants and I've had this much losing, yeah, I would want to be a little bit aggressive. Especially against this defense. But we get a sack. Nice. And they're out of timeouts, too, so that's the end of the half. I think that was Rashawn Gary they got in there. And that's the half. No field goal attempt.
Teams head for their respective locker rooms, and we head to Orlando. Scott Hansen has our halftime.
All right.
Scott.
Up 14-7 at the half. Javonte Williams with a touchdown run early. Dak to CeeDee for a touchdown. So far, looking good.
Both sides catch their breath and get their orange wedges.
Yeah. I feel like I thought I could just scramble out of the pocket with Dak, but I keep forgetting this is old Dak Prescott now. I think that was Gary, but then again, Ezra got in there too. I think it was Gary and Ezra combined for that sack. Still. So far, the running backs are actually kind of the standout guys. Each of them have a touchdown. Yep, we get the ball to start the second half.
Still anyone's game here. We'll see who can come out with a hot hand.
All right, if we can go down the field and score right here, that would be pretty big. Jaden Blue actually got the return there. Try to keep running the football with Javonte. He's doing pretty well on the ground. I'm not going to abandon that running game. I will give Brian Schottenheimer some credit, at least last season, for how he utilized having Javonte Williams the first year as coach because, I feel like that with Javonte, Dallas has found a steady back. I'm not saying Javonte is Zeke or DeJounte Murray or DeMarco Murray, but he can resurrect his career in Dallas potentially if this works. I mean, literally, first game he puts on a Cowboys uniform against Philadelphia. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in the first quarter. Javonte Williams he's probably going to have a Pro Bowl this year. He probably would have been voted the Pro Bowl this year had he played the whole season. Because he didn't play. He got injured in the Commanders game, second to last game of the season, and he didn't play at all in the season finale against the Giants. He would have probably had over like 1,200 yards if he played in that game. Well, total for the season. But he was out, and Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa split carries in that game. Blue looked decent at times. Then again, he's looking decent right now. Yeah, I like Blue. I actually thought that last year he was going to emerge as a starter at running back. I thought he was going to potentially do that because I thought Javonte Williams was either going to get injured or he just wasn't going to look up the part. But it turned out being the opposite. I thought Miles Sanders last year could have had the potential to be decent, but he just had that injury, and that just derailed anything that he could do for the rest of the year. Although a lot of people although I still didn't forgive him for fumbling that football against the Eagles. That was a drive where it's sacked. I mean, if Dallas had kept possession of that ball, they go down the field, they potentially score, and they put the Eagles in a tough spot, and maybe it leads to a win. Got him. CD, run. Touchdown. There we go. Perfect. Got the coverage I wanted, hit him on the slant route. It's a touchdown. He's doing George Pickens' celebration, though, with the whole peekaboo stuff. But whatever. It's probably just a pre-programming thing in the game. But, yeah. A lot. Skip Bayless talked about this all the time, that if Dallas had beaten Philadelphia on opening night last year on Thursday night, it would have been a launching point for their season. I mean, they got to give right off the bat because Jalen Carter spit in Dak Prescott's face. Now, let me just say this. You know, I never viewed Dak as a bad guy. But, you know, I look back at the replay and, you know, I saw him smiling and, you know, he was kind of giving a little bit of a Joker grin. He was like, dude, I know what I'm doing and I got you. You took the bait. You took the bait. Yeah. Jackson Dart, I don't know what you were trying to throw to right there, dude. There was nobody in the area. But, I mean, then again, that's not grounding because I think he was outside the pocket. But, yeah. Dak knew what he was doing. I talked about it with our sports director the day after that, and, you know, yeah, he agreed. And I agreed, too. But still, Jalen Carter could have not reacted. He could have just gotten in Prescott's face and done nothing. But he spit at him. And the refs saw the spit swab land on his jersey. It was a pretty crazy way to start the NFL season. That was literally the first thing that happened for the 2025 season. It was crazy when you think about it. Meanwhile, we forced the Giants into a punt. That's good. So we're starting to get a little bit of control here. We score again. I think this game might be over. But, yeah. But I wish Dallas would have won on opening night against Philadelphia. I do kind of agree with Skip and others in the sense of, yes, it probably would have led to them being more confident, but at the same time, I think this defense I think that defense last year was going to be whatever it was without Micah Parsons. Everybody knew that the defense was going to be worse without Micah. Everybody knew it. Nobody thought that defense was going to be better without him in the lineup. If anybody thought that, which apparently is Jerry Jones, then you're the dumbest person on the face of planet Earth. Micah Parsons, generational pass rusher. I don't care what anybody says. And Jerry Jones just knew how to negotiate. Micah probably would still be in Dallas. This is why when you find out after 1 or 2 years if a guy is that guy, you pay him. That's what all the other NFL teams do. Not the Cowboys. Wait, holdouts, drama, and then, bam, you have to do something, either pay him or trade him. And unfortunately with Micah Parsons, they went with the trade route. I didn't think they were going to trade him. Even though he demanded a trade, I still didn't think they were going to trade him. And they were going to come to some kind of agreement. And Micah was just going to come to a sense to be like, okay, whatever. I'm still under contract. I've been not holding out. I've been here with my teammates. And I'm going to go play. I thought he was a team-first guy. And I still feel like he is. His personality does reflect that. Thomas. But it is what it is. If there's one benefit that people can say about the Parsons trade at this point, is that, well, Parsons got hurt last year. Well, he's going to be back this season. And everybody's already saying that he'll at least be ready by the time they get ready to play Dallas. He's not missing that game. Although, I will say, that game, that even though it ended in a tie, Micah Parsons didn't really, in my opinion, get his revenge. I thought it was going to be a 6-sack performance from him. But Nate Thomas, whew, he did a phenomenal job blocking in that game. I went back and watched the replay of that, and really, I don't really look a lot at the offensive linemen and how they block and how they play. But I looked at a lot of the snaps in that game from Thomas, and for a guy that hadn't played left tackle before, because you knew Micah was on the left side, he did a good job against him. I feel like at that point, that should have been a launching pad for everybody to say, Nate Thomas, you deserve a serious shot at being our left tackle. Now, I don't know why Brian Schottenheimer has already declared that competition over with Guyton being the starter. But still, I still feel like that there will be more competition at that. Believe me, if Dak goes out there and gets sacked 3 times, like in the first quarter against the Giants, I feel like at that point you got to bench the guy. Meanwhile, we get a touchdown pass once again to CeeDee Lamb. He's got 2 touchdown catches on the day. It's the fourth quarter now. We're up by 3 touchdowns. Seems like we've pretty much put this game to bed. That's why I'm trying to kind of talking more about other stuff as opposed to the game itself. But it is what it is. I'm hoping this goes kind of like this in real life on Sunday night to open the season, but I doubt it. I am excited to finally watch Cowboys football, even though it's preseason, this Saturday night against the Seahawks, just because they're back on the screen. And fortunately, I saw a report come out today that it looks like Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence will play. Whether it's in this game or some in the preseason, I mean, I don't know. I would guess that they will see some action on Saturday night. It sounds like they will. Which then again, Downs, you can just play like one series and then you can. But just get like one tackle in, maybe come up the middle, go hit somebody, and then you can go. You're done. I'm sure Christian Parker will say, all right, dude, give me one tackle, give me one decent tackle, and you're done. And he might tell Lawrence the same thing, although he might leave Lawrence in there for 2 series. Those guys are going to be surrounded by backups. But I do hope Caleb Downs plays at least a bit in the preseason because I want to see him in action. I mean, I might have jumped the gun a little bit by buying a T-shirt with his name on the back of it, but I got a feeling that Downs could be that guy. And, you know, his personality is kind of reserved. I don't know why Jackson Dart would try to run that ball. Jonathan Fuller was right there. I mean, they're going for it on 4th down. But anyway. But I so far I like Downs' personality. He's not real flashy. He's not, you know, pointed his chest and, you know, all of that. He wasn't really like that at Ohio State. He's kind of got a reserved demeanor about him, but he plays hard. So I think that's the good thing that I like about the way that Downs has looked so far. That might be a face mask. We're going to get our first penalty of the game. Yep, it's on them. Face mask on, I guess, number 90, it looked like. So, yeah, I will definitely take that penalty. Yep, thank you, sir. But, yeah. I'm also just excited football's back. I know it's preseason, but hey, I actually got home from work today, and the first thing I did was turn on NFL Network and watch the Packers-Steelers preseason. I did. And the Texans were also playing against the Chargers. I watched some of that game. I was kind of doing a little bit of a, you know, back and forth toggle back. You know, I haven't been able to do that. And like I said earlier, like several live streams ago, I'm so glad I got the schedule change at work. So Fridays are actually Fridays, and I don't have to worry about trying to watch the game also. It's really made a difference, even though sports haven't really begun in terms of football yet. But I can just feel a different sense of just less pressure. You know? So I'm excited about this football season.
Here's a run.
And Blue gets the carry. Looks like Williams might have to sit a little bit. It looks like he's getting a little bit banged up. Oh, he's back in. All right, never mind.
Even though he doesn't get him down on his first try, the rest of his guys are all rallying to the ball.
Maybe Dak can run this thing. Come on, Dak. Got it. Touchdown.
And he gets out wide. He'll go to the end zone.
He still got it.
Touchdown.
Then again, that touchdown run where it was a broken play and he ran it in for a touchdown against the Eagles and he dove in. That was beautiful. That was vintage Dak Prescott. That was the old Dak, I remember. And also I remember the run he had to set up the field goal to win the game against the Giants. It was a long run. And I love this edit that they did where it includes sound from him in the post game, with him asking like how's the leg, and he's like great, and then it shows splits goes quickly to the play, and it's like
Here's the Giants offense.
Yeah, it was just a good edit, and he said went great, and he's just smiling. It's like, yeah, I'm back. I'm back. And he was that. If anything, last season the offense was fun to watch. It was refreshing to see Dak out there off another significant injury, and he looked good. He did. He had a good year statistically. He didn't have a lot of the multi-interception games. I think the only game where he threw multiple interceptions was, I want to say, against. I think the only game he had multi-interceptions was against the Broncos. Well, meanwhile, I play that terribly, and Tracy's going up the middle for a garbage touchdown. Anyway. But yeah, but unlike in 2024, Dak didn't have like multi-interception games. He played so much better last season. I think he was out to prove that, like, hey, I got to show them that even if the team around me stinks, that I'm not going to stink. I'm sure there were offensive performances that were lackluster, but
so the late
Dak had a good
gets them a bit closer to respectability.
Pickens on the hands team gets it.
With an onside kick.
We'll just probably take knees at this point and get out of here. Or run the football maybe once. I don't know.
Nice job here by the hands team recovering. They're going to take over possession.
And he'll get about 6 there. Setting up second down.
So we're on our way to victory in this game. So far the game is pretty much playing the same as I remember from all the several seasons. I don't really think there's a whole new mechanics deal. Plus the settings that I like are the classic passing. I don't like those meters and all that type of stuff. I feel like that's just too distracting, and it's what I'm used to. Fortunately, all the settings carry over to each Madden, so that's pretty cool.
It's another run here for Williams.
So we don't get the first down there. You can go for 55 yards. Why not?
Here's Brandon Aubrey.
There's no win, so I don't have to worry about any about the kicking meter being thrown off course. Like I said, I knew this live stream wasn't going to be very long. It's just really, like I said, just kind of doing a first impressions gameplay, just introducing Madden 27 to the channel. And as far as first impressions, it's basically kind of the same game as last year, but everything's up to date, and it's it's a new beginning. So I'm looking forward to it. So I'm looking forward to doing some good Madden 27 gameplay with rebuilds. I'm gonna try to do better on the rebuilds this year, guys. I really am. But Hopefully the new work schedule will help out with that too. Although I feel like I did a lot of my rebuilds during the off-season of the NFL, so maybe during the off-season of the NFL you might see me do actually more stuff on the channel with Madden 27 than during the season. But it just depends. Like I've said before. That's the end of the game. Beat the Giants 38-14. Dak had a good performance. He had two passing TDs, one rushing. We had 2 rushing TDs, I believe, from Javonte Williams. So
that'll just about do it for
overall, pretty easy game. No real sweat, except for maybe the first quarter, but that's about it. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the main menu, and I'm going to wrap up this live stream. I know it's a very short one, but then again, I still have one more day of work to go. I'm not going to go too much into why I said at the beginning of this live stream why this week has been stressful. But one thing I will say is that if you work in TV news in any regard, one of the things that you just have to deal with covering, whether you're a photographer like me or a reporter or anybody, is court jury trials. I've basically been at the courthouse like all week during my shift. And tomorrow I have to go back again. So I've basically been there like all week. It's annoying, but at least the week is up. I have had some other shoots this week that have kind of made up for it, but at the same time, it's been a drag. Not only that, this week has been long because we've had a lot of people taking off from work this week. I've basically been like the only photographer working this week. So it hasn't been easy, but I mustered up enough, courage, and I was distracted enough. I think just watching preseason football also kind of gave me a little nudge to say, hey, NFL football's back. Preseason or not, football's back. Play Madden 27. You bought it. So that's what I decided to do. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next live stream. What I'm planning to do is I might alternate between this weekend Madden, next weekend College Football 27. Because I still want to keep the College Football 27 stuff going. And ever since both of these games have now existed in the EA Sports universe, if you want to call it that, the channel has been mostly these 2 games. And I feel like that I don't really want to do anything else on the channel, at least not at the moment. So it's really just going to be Football Central. But thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, and I'll more than likely be back tomorrow evening to start up the Cowboys franchise. That's the plan right now. And I don't have to work the night shift like I did last week. So I'll be off at like 6:30, and after I get something to eat, settle down a little bit, watch some TV, and then I'll probably hop on the game. So thank y'all, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.